Podcast. Podcast.
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancake.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that was...
Playing the role of the Cape Crusader this week is myself, Carl, and that always looks good in spandex, Dan.
They do call me the Boy Wonder.
They do, for different reasons, but
yeah,
we won't talk about that.
No, my lawyers instructed me not to comment.
Moving on, the big news this week is last Saturday, Dan was one of the first in the UK to get his hands on a PlayStation 4.
Well, yeah, playing it rather than actually having the console.
Yeah, he didn't just walk around.
I was tempted, to be perfectly honest. It was only like a little plastic box, sort of keeping it sort of protected. So I think, you know, there was only like the one Sony representative. He's a pretty big guy. I reckon I could have outrun him.
I reckon so. You know your way around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more so than he would have done. So
exactly.
If I'd have had a little Dremel multi-tool, I would have, you know, whipped that box off and bang out the door. That'd be alright.
That's what he says to all the ladies.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there would have only actually been 2 demos to play, which is all I actually had for options, which was a little bit of a buzzkill, considering it was FIFA 14, and then this kind of third-person alien robot kind of thing called Knack. I actually watched someone play Knack for about a minute. And it was just so boring.
See,
I just went back
and
and carried on playing. No, there was nothing to it. It was just a big thing, walking around, smashing some stuff, fighting a big tank, and because it was like the tank, they couldn't beat the tank, because to get anywhere near it, as soon as you get near it, it just like fire this big ram thing out the front and just knock you back and then shoot you. And they were just going, how the fuck are you meant to beat it? How the fuck are you meant to beat it? So either they were just playing it really badly, but I just didn't give it the time of day. It wasn't anything of interest. It looked very juvenile, really, considering it was supposed to be like an after hours, you know, hands-on exclusive, look, you know, see what the PS4 can do. And then there was FIFA, and then this kiddie bullshit. But FIFA was fine. It's FIFA at the end of the day. But graphically, 10 times better than anything I've seen on any of the other consoles.
Yeah.
You know, the actual sort of the way the shirts and stuff move, and like shorts and stuff. There was some really weird sort of collision things on, like where you just sort of run into the ref and then you sort of teleport out of the way. So it was a little bit strange. But I think these are kind of like
real life.
Yeah, well, yeah. But they're not like full games, really. They were literally just like if you'd walk into game and there'd be like a little demo set up. That's basically all it was. I wouldn't even say it would be as good as the actual demos that get released. It was just a sort of a watered down version of that. But it's when you're sort of trying to gauge a new sort of generation of consoles and games on what Sony themselves are prepared to sort of show and say, look, this is what it can do, and those are the only 2 options they give you, it's a little bit disappointing. Because it's like there wasn't any Sony, well, apart from the Knack thing, but again, I wasn't counting that. There was loads of pictures of things like Infamous 2 and Killzone 4, you know, and you could view images of it, but there were only the 2 playable demos. It's just like, you know what, you could have given us like a beta for Killzone 4, something like that, even Battlefield 4, you know, just as a little play, just to see how it looks.
I mean, off the PR sheet that we read obviously before you got to go and play on it, we already knew that there wasn't going to be any Killzone, there wasn't going to be any Infamous, which obviously was a bit of a killer straight off that, but there was like 5 games that they said
at least, yeah, that's what I was hoping
to play. None of them was particularly exciting. Obviously the biggest one out of the lot being FIFA 14, which is actually out on PS3, 360, Wii U, PC, I think, and all that. And Knack, and then the others being like Octodad and some arcade pinball game and Contrast Contrast actually taking now the place of Drive Club on the launch lineup. But obviously none of them was there, which was a bit weird.
And the reason everyone was playing FIFA over NAC is because there were only 6 consoles set up with 2 controllers each. And there's about 25 people there, 25, 30 people I'd say at most. And considering there were 70 places for this lock-in, and there was that many people turned up, I was incredibly surprised. As soon as I went into the store, I was on one straight away playing with the guy.
Did you play in the PS4?
As well, yeah. But it was just sort of like, so he was flipping through, and you said, what do you want to play? Because there was like all these different game titles, sort of like on a big playlist kind of thing. And he's like, what do you want to play? And I was just like, whatever, we'll go 2-player if that's, if we can, just to sort of save time and everyone gets to go, rather soon. Because obviously people are just sort of stood behind, just like, can't believe this. I'm in here. There's a PS4 there, and I can't fucking play it because this idiot's in front of me.
Can't see what he wants to play.
Yeah, so after like going on to every single, there's like Need for Speed, the Rivals or New Underground or whatever the hell it is. Like there was all of that sort of stuff, and it was just view images. That's all it was. And the only thing that because everyone was doing the exact same thing, there was only FIFA and NAC, and everyone was like, all right, okay, what else is there? And then when it was, when everyone sort of realised that was the only thing that was available, you just sort of like, oh fuck, well FIFA, I guess, because then everyone gets a go fairly quickly. So a few people were sort of doing like, they play until half-time and swap out with like someone behind them. I didn't. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to beat this guy, and then someone else can have a go. But I didn't. I'm not great at FIFA anyway, so I don't know if the actual FIFA 14 play is an improvement on FIFA 13, because I never played FIFA 13. But I managed to beat him on because I came off that one and I was having a look at NAC, and I mean I tried to inspect the controller and the actual console as best I could. The controller feels great. Ergonomically, it's absolutely brilliant. So love the controller. It's weighted down by like the security lock thing, like a security chain. So it was really, really heavy because of that. But I know that when that was, or as and when that's taken off, that's going to be really, really cool to use. There wasn't anything to use with the PSI though, which again, sort of just like, this is supposed to be, giving people a little sneak peek, little taste, and you haven't given them anything to go off, like the wireless, like the touch controller thing, like the middle of the pad. There wasn't any use for that at all on any of these. There wasn't any use for the PSI. I mean, fair enough, you wouldn't be able to get people playing Just Dance and stuff like that in the middle of the game, but you'd expect some sort of, just something to say, look, it's just showing you, but it's going to animate you on this little dude doing this or something.
Realistically, what they could have done in that sense, where, okay, so they haven't got any games that use PSI ready, say, I mean, they might have, I don't know, but all they had to do was have it and say, what you can do on Kinect, where you wave your hand and switch through all the stuff on the dashboard. You can do that on this as well if you want, and just even if it just shows you how, if it works or not.
Yeah, there were just settings, the dashboard with the sort of games and images underneath the game.
Did you try and sign in with your PSN ID?
No. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed with the choice that they gave. I mean, this is, they said that this was supposed to be like an exclusive, hands-on before they released, at the end of the month sort of thing. And it's basically going to be exactly what the stores are going to use as soon as they are launched. They're going to just set them up around the store so people can come in and have a little play on them. So that's the only exclusive that you've had. So it's not saying, look, this is what Killzone 4, this is actual Killzone 4, like the tiny amount of a demo or something like that. And this is what you can have a go on just to see if you want to actually, because they said, have you made a pre-order for this store? And then when everyone's in, and they're saying, we are taking pre-orders tonight as well. And I was like, if this is what you're going off, if you're genuinely in two minds, you go, maybe an Xbox, or maybe I'll get a bit of PC, or maybe I will go for a PS4. And then you go in and say, well, maybe this is going to be the clincher, and you play FIFA.
Yeah.
You're like, well, no, this isn't going to sell it for me, So it was interesting. I like the controller. I don't think, as of yet anyway, anything's going to convince me otherwise that that's not what I'm going to get. But I think I had my own hopes for what it would be, and as to, how they'd sort of try and please people, especially as there were so few people there as well. I genuinely thought they'd say we'll have a little tournament, and you can win a few bits and pieces, just pens or something, just to keep people there.
Something Sony related at least.
Exactly, yeah.
Like
key fobs or like keychain things.
Oh, it would have been really cool. I don't know why they didn't think of this. Probably because they'd have to ask for rights and permission and stuff. But on Twitter the other week, you could win beta codes for Destiny. So you could just start playing now, have a taste of it. If they gave away something like that,
exactly, because then
beta codes or something,
that would sort of encourage more people to come as well. I mean, I was there for about 45 minutes, and I was just like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I've played FIFA now. I've played as a couple of different teams. NAC doesn't interest me. What else is there to do? Talk to the Sony rep about how fucking brilliant his product is. But there hasn't been any demonstration of that other than just, it's FIFA. Yet again, we've poured more money into it, and the characters look a little bit more like their football counterparts. That's it. That's all it has to offer for it. In NAC, if that is what they're selling it, God, don't forget it.
Looking at it now, after it's happened, between the two of us, considering it was FIFA, I think we were really the worst people to go.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I knew that FIFA was going to be there, and that was going to be the main attraction. But as I said before, that was fine. I didn't care, because that would draw other people away, so I could play all the other, little bits and pieces. But when they weren't there as an option either, what I wanted to do ran out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they weren't allowing anyone to take any videos or any pictures. I still took one.
Yep.
But they, I mean, I wanted someone to go with me so I could be, sort of do a little film thing and just say, this is what it looks like, this is how it feels, some sort of first impression. And that was just shot down immediately.
And I can't understand why, because
everyone knows what it looks like.
Yeah, it's not that secret of a deal. It's like it was last weekend, so it's 4 weeks away from actually being able to go and buy one.
Yeah. So if this had been done 8 months ago, I agree completely.
Yeah,
it'd be like, this is like an actual secret showing, and say you can actually have a look before anyone even knows what's going to be out on it, and what it can do. We're going to just give a few people, just whoever first come first served, and they can come in and they can just have a quick go on it. Half an hour time slot or something. You piss about on even FIFA, whatever. But it's just like, oh my god, no one even knows about this yet. This is awesome. That would have been amazing if they'd then come in and said, no pictures. You'd be like, you know what, fair enough, mate. I understand why you haven't even.
Probably still would have took that sneaky one.
Oh god, yeah, of course I would. But to do it like you say, like 4 weeks before launch, and say you can't take any pictures. It's like, well, what about when in 4 weeks' time I come in and take a picture of the same stand? Is that not allowed then either? What the fuck?
It did seem a bit weird.
Yeah, so I was a bit annoyed by that. So it's like, you've already. How many more restrictions do you want to put on this? Can we only use one control? Can we only use one hand? Can I only use the left thumbstick? Is that the only thing we can do?
Are you changing the name to Xbox One? Do you think that's what it really was? It wasn't so. It wasn't so at all.
Painted it a slightly darker black and just.
That's all they could get their hands on.
Yeah, change the controllers a little bit.
Oh, I smell a conspiracy.
Well, possibly. I mean, if FIFA's what they're showing. You show me FIFA on an Xbox One and FIFA on a PS4. I don't know which one's which.
No, not a fucking clue.
You show me Metal Gear Solid 5 on a PS4 and you show me Metal Gear Solid 5 on an Xbox One, and I'll tell you which one they are. That's the only way I'm going to be able to tell, not because of FIFA.
And it's still going to be pretty close.
Where?
From what I've read, Activision have come out and they've said the Call of Duty Ghost is only running at 720p on Xbox One, upscaled to 900p. But PS4 is running at native 1080p. So I imagine we're going to be able to tell the difference on a few games, if that's because that's like the third game now that's not running at 1080p on Xbox One, with the only exception being Rise. But anyway, many thanks to Sony and to Game in Manchester for Dan's hands-on with PlayStation 4.
Yeah, it's kind of as much. I think it was just sort of I was expecting too much of them, which I think is my own fault really more than anything. But I certainly appreciate the go on it. and I certainly rubbed it in a few faces.
Yes.
So I'm pleased. I'm glad I got to have a go on it, and I'm still happy with it. Although I know for a fact, do you know what's weird? That if I'd have gone and it was an Xbox One and they'd have done FIFA, I would have been cursing their names from the mountain. I'd be like, fucking FIFA, this is what you show, you're fucking lucky, FIFA, of all the fucking games.
At least PS4's got knack. Christ almighty, FIFA.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm still pissed off the fact that was the big sort of thing, after everything else that they were, saying was going to be available to have a quick look at. But I got to have a look at the hardware, and I'm impressed with the hardware. It looks absolutely great. Feels great.
End of the day, you went for a hands-on. You got a hands.
I did. I got exactly what I went there for. So I'm happy enough with that. But I just don't think it would have been the greatest representation. This is why I need to go to E3 or something and actually have a proper go on things that people are saying. Look at this game. Look at what we're going to be selling. Look at how good it is. E3 next year, absolutely.
Yep. So if you're listening, whoever runs E3,
Mr. E3,
we would like to go.
Yeah, free tickets, please.
To the Electronics Entertainment Expo.
Absolutely.
Which was showed up to E3 was Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
Which came out last week.
One of my most favourite trailers.
It's alright.
Oh, I loved it. I've watched it.
No. Trailer's amazing. Story in Origins amazing, but it's not. It's alright. It's not great. I've had a bit of a sort of a reaction from a lot of people. See, now, I mean, I was talking about this the other day. My basic analysis of it I've had quite a thorough playthrough. I haven't been able to touch it at all the last couple of days, but from what I have played, it basically it kind of feels like Warner Brothers Montreal have just traced over the lines of Rocksteady's Arkham City, just added a few different details here and there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen a couple of interviews where they said, have you changed things like the combat? And they said, no, it's fine as it is. We don't need to change it. But even playing Arkham Asylum to playing Arkham City, there was such a massive leap in the actual combat, even though it was based on the same thing, Y to dodge and X to punch and do combos and stuff. There was still a massive difference between it, and you could definitely tell. And yet with this, it's just like, well, it's like you've just taken the combat from Arkham City and just added like a slightly different detective mode and put it in Gotham now instead of...
Basically... I can't even describe it, if I'm honest. There's a fine line of... But the easiest way to do it, if you didn't know Warner Bros. Montreal had made this, you would just think it's like Arkham City 2.5. It's not. It's just like City, which is really, really good. It's still a really good game, and I would recommend it, but there's no difference with slight touches, obviously. Like Mr. Freeze's freeze gun that you get in City, that's not in this because Mr. Freeze isn't in it. What you get instead is a glue grenade, which does basically exactly the same as Mr. Freeze's freeze gun.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, personally, is the voice actors. Troy Baker, who was Joel in The Last of Us, takes the reins from Mark Hamill, and he does a tremendous job. He's really, really good as the Joker. Zoe, my fiance, she couldn't tell the difference, to be honest, between. She thought Mark Hamill was still doing it, but that's where he does fall, though, in the fact that he doesn't do anything new.
I was just going to say, I mean, Mark Hamill's kind of set the bar, really, set the precedent. Say, like, all Jokers need to sound as good as this. It doesn't mean they all need to sound the same as this. They just need to have that kind of crazy, maniacal... He
kind of just does sound like him, and there's not much difference between them, and it's kind of like you say, Mark Hamill he's at the height of Joker voice actors, but it's the same as Heath Ledger's Joker. Whereas if somebody now takes up the role of the Joker in a future film,
they're going to be compared to that.
Yeah. And if they do it even slightly similar, they're going to be absolutely panned for it. Even if it's a brilliant job, it's going to be like, well,
it's not as good.
Yeah, you're just trying to copy Heath. And this, what some people, I imagine, feel about Troy Baker in the fact that he's so good, but he's so good at basically mimicking Hamill.
Yeah.
But he's still very, very good, and he does a good job. Roger Craig Smith voices Batman. He does a good job, but he's no Kevin Conroy. And Batman does come across as a very there's a bit, not to spoil it for anyone, but there's a certain bit in the film where Alfred actually calls him a spoilt brat with a trust fund, and that kind of sums up what Batman's kind of like at parts in this, where Alfred's trying to get him to get Commissioner Gordon on side because he could be a good ally, and Batman, I don't need any allies. Everyone's scared of me. Blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, kids.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of the whole premise, though, isn't it? It's just like it's sort of only just started out, really.
That's what I don't understand, though. He's just starting out, and everybody except Joker, he is on first name terms with already. He's got the kick-ass costume. He's already got a bat jet. He's got all his other gears, and to be fair, though, he does pick up gear throughout the game. Like his grappling hook, he gets off. He steals off Deathstroke, stuff like that. But everything else, it's like his Batcave's all done. It was
supposed to be about 2 years into when he actually started crime fighting. So he's certainly not a seasoned crime fighter, but he's certainly not brand new starting out.
No, he's not starting out by any means. But the fact that he's been going on for 2 years, and yet the Joker's only just decided to make an appearance, it seems a bit off, personally. Like the way it's told, it doesn't sit right. I mean, obviously the Joker didn't come into it for quite a good while throughout the comics, but it just doesn't fit right. The biggest disappointment, though, is the fact that you had this amazing trailer where the first one showed Batman fighting Deathstroke, and then Deadshot shooting from a distance, and then they had another trailer showing off all like Black Mask and Bane and the Joker and whatnot. And basically, you had Black Mask put a $50 million hit on Batman's head. So he had like 8 assassins all come to kill him. That story goes out the window by not even halfway through the game. And I mean, I don't know if you want me to spoil anything for you, Dan. But
personally, no, because I do intend to get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I had a hunch. I don't know what it was. I had a hunch that it's because I think it's my old sort of
detective,
not believing in a trailer thing. You know, just sort of like whenever a trailer it looks amazing, it's almost like it's overcompensating in a way. I mean, it's not true in every sense, but for some reason I just had a feeling about this, and it was on Steam, like pre-order £30. I was like, oh, such a good buy, because like I know when it comes out it's going to be at least 35, but I always kept putting it off, and I just thought there could just be something, and I'll really regret it, especially if I'm getting it for a PC as well. And then it's come out, and people have just gone, oh, it's all right. It's just like, oh fuck, this is the new Batman. This is supposed to be amazing.
There's nothing.
You know, I'm supposed to feel like the fool for not pre-ordering it.
So there's nothing particularly wrong with it. I mean, Bob, there are a lot of bugs and glitches, and a lot of slow frame rates at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, people have already found out with some of the glitches. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's been out for about 5 days.
Yeah,
people are already all over, like where all these certain little bugs are that'll get into certain rooms, and other bugs that means that you can't get out of rooms and stuff like that. It's just like, no one tests this before.
I've only suffered one bug where I pressed the button to use an elevator, and I kind of fell through the floor of the elevator, and then I ended up outside the building, and it was like just running non-stop. Luckily it just saved, so I just restarted it and it didn't happen again. But a lot of slow frame rates. I got it the Friday it came out, and on the Saturday I was playing it, and I've been playing it for about an hour and a half, and it started, and I honestly got to the point where it was starting to get unplayable. It was so slow. But after I turned it off for like a couple of hours, put it back on. Touch wood, it was okay after. But now and again, especially when you're using fast travel, the transition from that brief video into dropping you out where you're gliding, that's still very choppy. But Warner Bros. Montreal are working on a patch. I think the PC one's already gone live. They're just doing the 360 and PS3 one. But other than them niggly little things, it's really not a bad game. If you liked Asylum and you liked City, then you will like Origins. If you didn't like either of those two, this won't change your mind at all.
Yeah.
And it is the weakest of the two, even though City was much better than Asylum.
Yeah, it is literally just following the Nolan trilogy at the moment, isn't it? The first one was brilliant,
Yes.
a really good introduction back into it. Second one blew everyone away because of just how much better it was and just how good it was in general. And then the third one's come out, and it's just like, oh right, well, it's not as good as the second one.
Yeah.
It's
still a good
it's just the way that trilogies work. It's just like you never get one that's good, two that's great, three that's brilliant. It's just never going to happen.
Everyone's worthless at this talent show. I'm totally gonna win when I sing. These lumps, I know you wanna slump up on these lumps, but you can't 'cause you're a chump. A chump.
The X-Men Days of Future Past trailer is out now, Dan. It's out now, Dan. It is out now, Dan.
I've seen it 3 times, so
That's why I said it 3 times.
Yep, because it is just that good.
It was alright. No, it was very good. Considering it is a sequel to Last Stand, which was the shittest X-Men film, and also a direct sequel to First Class, even though First Class has nothing to do with X-Men 1, 2, 3, or Wolverine Origins. Baffles me. Either way.
It is a pretty ballsy move.
2
unrelated films, and then we're going to have a sequel for both of them.
Brian Singer did say that it's kind of to make up for Last Stand.
I don't think there's enough film time in the world for that.
It was pretty fucking awful. But either way,
Grammer, though.
Perfect choice of Beast. Perfect choice.
Absolutely.
It's a big budget film, mostly in terms of actors. Looking at this, you got Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Anna Paquin, Sean Ashmore, Ellen Page, Daniel Cudmore, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, Peter Dinklage, Omar Sy, Fan Bingbing, Boo Boo Stewart, and Evan Peters. That's a lot of actors.
Yeah.
What I find most baffling is I was reading a synopsis to the film, and it just seemed to differ from the actual comic. But I've still got pretty high hopes for it. I think they could pull it off. I hope they can.
I think it's fine. I mean, because I thought that with the whole time travel thing, I thought it was going to be some sort of like astral plane kind of thing, or maybe Forge put together some sort of time machine. But it looks like it's actually going to be Shadowcat.
That's who it is in the comic.
Yeah. She's going to send Logan back through time, his mind at least.
I think that's the biggest problem that they're going to hit is a lot of people so basically it's another Wolverine film. And then
if he's going to be the central, going to be the central character because he's going to be connecting the First Class cast with the X-Men trilogy cast, and he's going to be that focal point. But as he's now had 2 separate films on his own as well it's Wolverine
X-Men,
and also X-Men and First Class people as well.
Which, don't get me wrong, that's not too far off the comic. It is mostly Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, but as always, it's not a problem to me. I love Wolverine. Hugh Jackman does a stellar job, but it does seem from the trailer that it's X-Men Days of Wolverine. Which again, for me, that's no big deal, but I imagine a lot of people will have a bit of a problem with it.
It's like me, I'm not exactly a huge Wolverine fan. I think he's a great character, but he's very Superman-like in the fact that he's just like his biggest problem for me is the fact that he's indestructible. And that is a weakness that a superhero needs. That needs to be their one flaw, in the fact that no matter how good or badly they try and do things, at the end of the day they could still at least be killed, and that is a fear that they'll have, and it has to be something they try and protect themselves from. But when you haven't got that option, I mean, but the thing is though, like Deadpool's got the same sort of issue, but because he's just so fucking gung-ho about it, and he doesn't give a shit, and he's got quite a, nice relationship with death, it sort of becomes a parody of Wolverine, just to say, I don't need to, it doesn't matter that I can't fucking die, I'll just put a bullet through my head because you're boring me, bang.
Yeah, I think that's one of Deadpool's biggest strengths, though, in the fact that because he plays the fourth dimension, he knows he's a comic book character. He knows he's in a video game.
But that's why, sort of Batman, well, any other sort of comic book hero, really, they've got their own mortality as their weakness. So when you're Superman and you have no weakness, they have to make you a weakness. And they go, kryptonite. Yeah, that'll have to do. But Wolverine hasn't even got that, because he has no physical weakness, nothing that he's more susceptible to.
It kind of plays back and forth in the sense that he's got adamantium running through his body, his claws are unbreakable, he's got regenerative healing, he's got animal-like senses and stuff. And then it got to the story arc where Magneto ripped the adamantium from his body. You're like, you're fucked now. But then it turned around that actually, it turns out the adamantium actually slowed his healing process, and now without it, he heals even quicker. You're like, alright, nice one, dickhead.
Yeah.
He gets nuked, and he just walks away. Hulk's ripped him literally in pieces, and threw his legs up a mountain, and he crawled his way up there. And
well, the only thing is that would take him out would be fire.
See, even then, I'm not 100% sure that it would, because S.H.I.E.L.D., after Hulk's ripped him apart, literally piece by piece, S.H.I.E.L.D. he wakes up and it's just his head on like a table at S.H.I.E.L.D., and he asks Nick Fury what's going on, and Nick Fury tells him. And basically, in each room, throughout S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, there is different parts of his body and then his organs, and his healing is just working rapidly just to keep these separate pieces alive. So I imagine if you burnt him, at some point he would, unless his healing burnt out, I think he'd walk away.
If the heat would have to be super, super hot, so it would just turn him into ash. And then once all his cells are actually dead, they can't regenerate, therefore he cannot live anymore.
So I suppose, because he has killed Sabretooth, and so Sabretooth dead, and that was by taking his head off and stuff, and taking it away from his body. And whatnot. Yeah,
but again, I've seen quite a few different instances of that where that hasn't affected him.
Yeah, I think it does vary on the writer, but at the same time, Wolverine's healing is better than, that's why Sabretooth wouldn't survive the Weapon X process.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, because he is this sort of indestructible character and everyone else has a weakness, he automatically becomes better than everyone else. So regardless
you don't need the X-Men.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that, because obviously Jean Grey couldn't, she'd only be able to sort of physically damage him.
Yeah.
But Professor X, he would be able to mind fuck him, basically. And if he could destroy his mind...
Now that's where I disagree, because depending on at what point in the story you're going from, at the present moment in time, he's susceptible to psychic attacks.
Well, how's that happened? That's just another element of bullshit.
Yeah.
If someone got into his brain, they'd be able to fuck him, and they go, yeah, now he's immune to that as well.
Yeah.
So basically, he's completely indestructible.
It's his animal nature. Sabretooth can't be controlled by telepathy or anything, because he's that far gone in his animal process. And when Wolverine reached his he was ultimate berserker, and he actually went to hell, and Nightcrawler had to go in and get him, and he was that savage and basically an animal, and it left him to the point where they can't get into his mind. But again, that's today. Tomorrow we go, actually we found a way. If we get him to drink 7-Up, then we can get into his brain.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like to have this sort of like... because he's basically a god now, because he's just saying, it doesn't matter what you do to me, you can't kill me, and whatever I say will therefore go.
Yeah.
So you don't, like you say, you don't need any of the others. So, I mean, things like Gambit, they're not there. In the future one, from what I can gather, there's only a few of them that have actually survived. So there's only Storm of all fucking people.
See, I read before they announced the full cast, because they kept releasing, like, oh, Hugh Jackman's on the set for Days of Future Past, so that means Wolverine's in. You know, going through all, like, dropping different actors' names and stuff. And then I read that they wasn't having Halle Berry back because she demanded too much money last time for Last Stand.
For a bullshit performance, you mean?
Well, she wasn't in it a lot, and she said, I want more lines, I wasn't not doing it, and I want more.
Oh, because she's such a massive comic book fan, is
exactly.
That right? Yeah.
So they gave in and did it. And I did read that they was going to replace her, which I was super psyched about. And then obviously they released the full list, and she was back. And then on the trailer she did a trademark shooting lightning from her hand, and then looked behind her. Nice one, dickhead.
Yeah. The thing is that there's like certain people, like certain characters, like any of the ones that were from, apart from sort of like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and Hugh Jackman, obviously. I mean, I have to agree, even though I'm not a massive Wolverine fan, he does play it really, really well.
It's regardless of how good the film is, he's Wolverine.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's the same as like, to if you went X-Men 1, X-Men 2 with Patrick Stewart, or Sir Patrick, should we say, as Professor X, and then all of a sudden just chuck someone else in there. You're like, whoa, what happened to Professor X? He's not there anymore. Who the fuck's this? Just in a wheelchair? He's not, what? Or just change Magneto or something. It's just something you can't do. It's the same thing as James Wolverine. Bond. Yeah, you can't do it. But if someone had changed Storm, or Pyro, or Iceman or something, you'd be like, fair enough. Maybe they just weren't working out. Because it's just like they're not that much of a key character. But now, it looks like she is. And it is just Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine, and Storm.
It is a very funny turn of events in the sense that it Days of Future Past, and like you say, you've got really from the last films, Storm, Wolverine, Professor X, and Magneto.
Well, there's also Iceman and Shadowcat.
Yeah, but
Rogue's a little bitch anyway, so fuck Rogue.
They ruined Rogue.
Of course they have. She's got to fly, for fuck's sake.
She's a cool character, Rogue is.
Yeah.
I actually wish I can't remember what story arc it is, but at one point, Rogue took Wolverine's powers that much that she actually kept retractable claws and healing,
nice.
Which was quite cool. But the film version is not very good. But what I can't seem to understand is, even though it obviously is a direct sequel to Last Stand and First Class, why, if Professor X is in it, how come Cyclops isn't? Considering they both died in the same film.
Well, Professor X is a lot more of a powerful mutant than Scott Summers, so
I don't know.
Maybe. Well, the thing is that, like, I mean, it's something you picked up on before, like when he transferred his consciousness into somebody else. Maybe he just had plastic surgery. Who knows? Yeah,
possible. But Cyclops is a lot more powerful than people tend to think. He's a top level mutant. He's on the same lines when he's on full power. Like if he takes his when
he takes his visor
off.
The optic blast is amazing.
He's on the same levels as Jean Grey in terms of raw power.
Yeah, but I mean, then so's his brother. So I mean, Havoc should be in there as well. Why have Pyro when you could have had Havoc instead?
Yeah.
That would have made much more sense, because that would have been a proper, you're my brother, but our powers don't work against each other, we're just going to have this horrible, futile battle against each other. I would have much preferred to see that than just the fucking horrific cliche of just ice versus fire. Go! And it's just some horrible...
Basically a Pokemon.
Oh, God, it was disgusting. And then for him to actually be Iceman for about 5 seconds, and then that was it. It's just like, what? So he actually turned into his full ice form, and that was it? We just blew that off, did you? Right, okay.
Because he's back to normal now.
Oh.
Good. Well, according to the trailer. That might all be changed.
Yeah, but he's not with Rogue in this. He's actually with Shadowcat, so they're actually an item. But if Magneto has got his powers back, obviously, as he wouldn't have survived that long if he didn't have done. If he hadn't have done, sorry. Then that obviously means that Rogue...
Well, he does, doesn't he? That's
at the end
one
of...
the things when he
I
makes
love the ending of that when he just makes the chess piece just move like a millimetre and then it just ends. That's brilliant. But that would also ensue that Rogue has got her powers back. But I hope that means that she gets to have her proper powers. Like, she just turned into this, like, whole bullshit damsel in distress thing, where she was a proper badass.
Yeah.
Like, she could fly and she had super strength and...
Really?
Like, she was just like this, I can't touch anyone, I only want to be with my boyfriend. It's just like, fuck off.
Get a vibrator. Fuck off.
Thanks for that.
You know, it does seem, looking at X-Men 1, 2, 3, Origins, the Wolverine, First Class, and probably this. The only characters they seem to have properly nailed is Professor X, Magneto. Yep. They did do a good job of Mystique. I did like the original Mystique.
Well, I don't know if she's going to be in the new one.
I don't think she is.
Be a future Mystique, because they'd probably just put in the same person that was doing Mystique for the first 3 films.
Yeah.
Which I would like to see, because they did it for First Class. So it's a really nice little cameo for her in that. And I would like to see that again, because I would like to see this sort of like, I would love to see Nicholas Hoult as Beast, and then Kelsey Grammer as Beast. That's the sort of, I want to see that sort of playing backwards and forwards. I really love to see that. But it is a lot more names to add to the already huge roster.
Yeah, and but, you know, I'd have happily swapped out Bobby Drake for Beast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And add Kelsey Grammer in there.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey Grammer's just a really good, I think even in the makeup.
The worst of it is, because obviously, I mean, they wanted to originally put Beast in X-Men 1, but they couldn't for budgets and stuff. And I never thought about Kelsey Grammer. And when you look at it now, you go, he's actually fucking perfect.
It's the same as Alan Cumming for Nightcrawler.
Yeah, he was very good.
Criminal that he was only in the second one.
Yeah. Very. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was only the beginning I liked, and then he turned into a bit of a fucking windbag, but...
Well, it's because it's like, it's the same as like Magneto, just turned
my mother left me, and Varg and Slag, and shut up. You're awesome. Play the part.
Yeah. And there's just no reference to
it's the same as Gambit.
Eyes at all.
They ruined Gambit. Gambit's kick-ass, and they ruined him.
What, in Origins?
In Origins.
Yeah, he just turned into a glorified taxi driver. It's like, I'll fly you there, don't worry about it, I'll fly you back out.
I was so excited when I saw him for the trailer for Origins, and then just totally ruined it. And again, it seems that the only characters they can really nail... I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't remember his name, but the guy who played Sabretooth in Origins, he did a good job. He was a good Sabretooth. As opposed to the guy who was in the first...
Well, he wasn't even remotely a character in the first one.
He was just a grunt.
Yeah, he was there for a bit, he got hit by a tree, or he hit someone with a tree or something, and then he was killed, and that was it. Well, not killed, but he was shot out the side of the Statue of Liberty, and that was it. He was never heard from again. And it's just like, so now he's dead, is he? He just fell through a boat? So you just, so he didn't just climb back out, just go, wanker, and just climb back up the side again? It's exactly what he would have done.
Did he?
No.
He's like,
scream for me.
Yeah, scream.
Shut up.
And it's that same line as well with Storm and Toad.
The Toad thing, yeah. It's just like, I think she must have wrote that herself. I've got a line of dialogue that'll be killer, and they're all just like, yeah, alright, Ali, see you later.
No, I'd rather have someone like Whoopi Goldberg playing Storm. Just, at least she'd add some humour into it. It's weird though, because in the comics, and especially in the cartoon, like the original animated X-Men cartoon, she was such a pivotal character. She was the leader of the X-Men, and then Cyclops took over. She was brilliant, and then in films, granted, Halle Berry's not personally, she's not one of my favourite actresses, and off the top of my head, other than my Whoopi Goldberg statement, I can't think of anyone who I'd prefer to play Storm. But on that same note, I'd be happy with, if Patrick Stewart decided to play both. You know, just put a wig on.
Yeah.
She's just no. I don't think she should be given. She's had 3. She didn't prove herself in any of them.
No, I mean, she was just in there for a namesake, I think. It's just like, look, Halle Berry's in this.
Yeah, you look at it, and it's like, at the time, Hugh Jackman was pretty much a nobody. He had the 3 big names, which was Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Halle Berry. And at the time, she was stupidly popular. But, no. Just no. However, Happy Bishop's in this.
Yeah.
I know obviously he has to be in it, because he's one of
I
the
think,
key
again, though,
characters.
it's still going to be a case of he's only going to be in it for a bit.
Well, he is quite a key character in the story, so as long as they can't really stray too far from this, because it's a massive story arc for the X-Men. So obviously there's going to be quite a few changes for not so much make it easier to make the film, but there are going to be a lot of differences from the comic and the film. But I hope they don't stray too far, because it's such a good story.
Yeah. You say that. We always do it.
Yeah, they say that. Look at Origins.
Well, I mean, I would like to see a few more... I don't know, because I know that they've put a few new mutants in for like this sort of future war thing that's kicking off, so there's some mutants that we don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, Quicksilver's in this, Warpath.
Yeah, Warpath, yeah.
Bishop, obviously, as I've said. Sentinels, we can't forget about the Sentinels.
No, that's my biggest peeve about the whole trailer. You see Trask, you see everyone, you see Storm getting a fucking camera full. No Sentinels. Still no Sentinels. And I'm convinced, do you know why? I'm terrified that when I actually see them, they're going to be about 7 foot tall.
No.
And I'm going to be like, no! That's not a fucking Sentinel!
They did actually show at some expo, not long after they revealed the head, they had a big model.
Yeah, and that was about 8 foot tall.
It was a bit bigger than, I'd say, knocking on 10. Because the guy said he was like 5'11", 6 foot, something like that, who was stood next to it, and it was a considerable amount bigger. Not as big as it needs to be, but I'm hoping they kind of use them for filming, and then the rest is CGI.
I bloody well hope so, because the only thing that Last Stand had going for it is the fact that they had a Sentinel in it
At the beginning.
Yeah. Because
that was kind of a homage, though, to that Danger Room simulator was like a homage to Days of Future Past.
You mean? Oh, what, that was the war they were fighting, you mean?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, right, okay.
That was,
obviously. Well, that initial trailer, I remember when I saw that when Last Stand was coming out, and there was the whole thing. There wasn't any indication that was the Danger Room. On the trailer, that was just something that was happening, and there was just fucking laser beams shooting from the sky, and it's like, oh my god, that's a Sentinel. There are actually going to be Sentinels in this. This is insane. And then Wolverine just gets thrown at it, and then his head just pops off.
He lights his cigar.
So what I'm hoping for is, like, you know how like the Avengers had like about an hour build-up for all the characters, get them all together, get them having a bit of conflict, bit of banter, and then it got to the New York battle, and it's just like, fuck all the script now, doesn't matter now. Now it's about the combat. Now everything is just like everyone going all out.
Yeah.
That's what this needs to... That's what I thought it was going to be. And that's what I'm hoping that Days of Future Past will be. It'll be just like a whole sort of like... That's why I think I have a sneaky suspicion. It's probably wrong, but I'd like to think of it, is that where you see Professor X, Magneto and Storm and Rogue and all that on, like, in some sort of weird future temple kind of thing. I'm hoping that's Genosha. Because if that's Genosha, then that means that all the Sentinels that Trask could make would turn up there, which is why all the other X-Men are dead. It's why everyone's dead, because they're all in Genosha. Everyone's been butt-fucked, and they're the only ones that have been left. And it's just going to be a scene of, like, some huge mental Sentinel battle. That's what I'm hoping for. I doubt I'll get it, because I know for a fact that they're just going to be like some slightly bigger than average person, which means Wolverine can just run around and just kill 30 of them in the room.
I said it before, ages ago. It was on like one of the first podcasts we did, and we touched on Days of Future Past. I still really want, and it's not going to happen, but I want it to happen. I want the Sentinel to come out, and it's like 8 feet tall, and everyone's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then I don't know, Wolverine like goes running at it or something, and before he gets there, it gets squashed by like a 30-foot Sentinel.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit.
If they can do Pacific Rim, they can do Sentinels.
There's no reason. Transformers. Power Rangers. Yeah. Come on.
If they can do Transformers and make it look that good.
That's
fair enough, they're, like, the Transformers are obviously the main characters, so to speak, so they needed to walk.
Yeah, but there's no reason the Sentinel can't. There's no reason the Sentinel can't be one of the main characters, considering it's such a key character.
Or just a Sentinel. Not if they just want to have the ones that are just slightly bigger than people that Wolverine can just tear through and Storm can electrocute and, you know, everyone just sort of batter on for a bit and it's just
you know
this
what
huge
happens
battle.
to Sentinels when they get struck by lightning?
Exactly, just that kind of horrible, just sort of like just cheese, just a general battle in a little room.
They get extra power.
And then, like, one just steps through the roof and there's even if there's just one that's at full size and they're just like, fuck.
And they finally beat it and then before the film finishes, it shows you Genosha, and there's like thousands all in production.
It's like the house party thing from Iron Man 3, and it's just fucking loads of them just flying in. Because that's exactly what it was. It was just like this huge army of robots to kill every single mutant.
That's what they're designed for. And
yeah.
They need to be a menacing threat, not just a Halt, who goes there.
Yeah, which is kind of why I suppose in Last Stand it was just a case of we want to make reference to them to say that these things are fucking, you know, all the other X-Men are just running scared and Wolverine's just like, fuck it, throw me at it, why not? But that's just a simulation, so you won't see any more of those.
See, actually, thinking about it, how did they even know what a Sentinel was?
Because, you know, ghosts.
That future hasn't happened yet.
Ghosts told them.
The future hasn't happened yet. Or...
Well, the X-Men were still set in the distant future, weren't they?
Does this mean Last Stand, even though this is a direct sequel to Last Stand, does this mean Last Stand is after Days of Future Past?
Well, yeah, as that was set in the 60s.
No, Last Stand's not First Class.
Oh, right. Wait, what?
Because there's no way, on that Danger Room session on Last Stand,
yeah,
there's no way they'd know what a Sentinel was, unless Days of Future Past happened before Last Stand.
Professor X is dead. I don't think that is going to be the least of their worries to actually explain away. I don't think anyone's going to be saying, wait a minute. You'll find Sentinels in that, and they go, what, so you don't care about how we just resurrected everyone and just gave everyone their powers back?
Yeah, it's the comics.
You just get, magic. It's just magic.
Yeah.
You know, Professor X, is magic, yeah.
Well, he is. They're all magic.
They're all bloody magic, yeah.
I think we've talked enough altogether, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a wrap-up for this week.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes peeled on the YouTube channel, however. There's going to be a few more videos going up. A few more Minecraft videos.
What are you playing next, other than our Minecraft series? What is Dan playing?
Well, at the moment I'm still going through Metro. Although, to be honest, I'm too engrossed in that to actually do recording for that as well. So I won't be doing that. Possibly, I was thinking about maybe doing Black and White or Black and White 2 because I love sort of God games. As I sort of covered in the Spore one. I am itching to do another APB though, so I might do another APB because that's just the game was just fun as hell. So possibly that, but also I intend to do Lego Superheroes when that comes out.
Needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, off that, I'm going to say that's all.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Done. They've had enough. Yeah, they've had enough. Yes, so we will see you next week. And obviously, like Dan said, keep your eye on the YouTube channel. Check out Twitter. If you're one of the 5 people on Google+, we're on there as well.
Yeah, if you're one of the half dozen people that uses Google+.
There's gutted. Do you not know about Facebook and Twitter? You know.
Yeah. You can find us under Podcast v Player, or you can email us at playervpodcast. Just the other way around. It's just the other way around, Callum.
It's just the other way around. It's the same but backwards.
It is, and that's at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Yeah. So any tips, questions, money, whatever you want to send.
Boobs.
Well, don't send boobs. Unless they're pictures. That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel we've crossed the line. So before we get into any more trouble, we'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes.
Podcast.